Now fundamental rights. In this audio lecture we will study fundamental rights. Now a right is a legal claim that a citizen or any other individual is granted by the constitution or any statute. Statute is a word which means law. Statute is a word which means law. For example, right to life. It means the individual's life cannot be abridged or abolished by anyone except in a matter that is prescribed in law of the land. If anyone violates the right illegally, the individual can approach the court that investigates into the case and renders justice. Rights are the essence of democracy, as they empower the individuals and enable them to develop. Rights are generally associated with equality in contemporary times and establish a level playing field among the people, irrespective of the fact whether they are rich or poor, whether they are a man or woman, and all various social groups. Thus, these rights are egalitarian in nature. Egalitarian, E-G-A-L-I-T-A-R-I-A-N. Now, what does this word egalitarian means? Now, this word egalitarian means that affirming, promoting, or characterized by belief in equal political, economic, social, and civil rights for all people. This is the meaning of egalitarian. So basically the fundamental rights are a protection against the arbitrary government actions. Now rights may be associated with obligations, there being very few absolute rights. For example, right to education, that is made a fundamental right by the insertion of Article 21A by the Constitution 86th Amendment Act 2002 in India, may confer the obligations on some citizens of the country to pay taxes that contribute to the revenues necessary to implement the right. Fundamental duties that were inserted into the Constitution by the Constitution 42nd Amendment Act 1976 are the obligations that citizens are expected to discharge. Fundamental duties mentioned in Article 51A of the Constitution of India require the citizens to contribute to the national and social development. Now, what does Article 21 say? Article 21 says, before that, just remember what does Article 21 says. Article 21 says that no person shall be deprived of his life or personal liberty except according to the procedure established by law. This right is available to both the citizens of India and also the non-citizens. Now, coming back to our original point, what is Article 21A? Article 21A declares that the state shall provide free and compulsory education to all children of the age of 6 to 14 years in such a manner as the state may determine. Thus, this provision makes only elementary education a fundamental right and not higher or professional education. This particular Article 21A, as I have told earlier, was added by the 86th Constitutional Amendment Act of 2002. Even before this amendment of 86th Constitutional Amendment Act 2002, in the directive principles of state policy under Article 45, there is a provision for free and compulsory education for children in Part 4 of the Constitution of India. But the major flaw was that this provision was present in Article 45 in Part 4 of the Constitution of India. That means that it was a directive principle of state policy, and directive principles of state policy are not enforceable in the courts of law. So by making a provision under Article 21A of the Constitution of India, this provision or this law of right to education has been moved to the clause of Part 3, that is in the fundamental rights, and now it is enforceable in courts. So there is scope for judicial intervention in this regard now. Now, various kinds of rights. Natural rights. Now, natural rights are those universal rights which are inherent in every individual being a part of human nature. They are not conferred by law but only recognized and made enforceable by law. For example, the right to life. Now next is the human right. Human rights are similar to natural rights in the sense that they are universal and are intrinsic in human nature. They are needed for dignified human life and are enjoyed irrespective of social, political and other considerations. They are contained in United Nations Universal Declaration of Human Rights 1948. Now next is civil rights. These are the rights that citizens of a country enjoy and are conferred by the constitution or the law of the country. Civil rights may differ from one country to another, while human rights are universally enjoyed by all. Now constitutional rights. Constitutional rights are the rights enshrined in the constitution of a country. Some enjoy special status such as fundamental rights, and some others do not enjoy such status. For instance, in the Indian Constitution, all those provisions that are contained outside part 3 of the Constitution, that is all those provisions that are not contained in the fundamental rights. So the fundamental rights definitely enjoy a special status. Now fundamental rights. Fundamental rights are a branch of civil rights and are given higher importance in India, as they are defended by the Supreme Court directly. Some fundamental rights are confined to citizens of India only, while others are open to all, that is the citizens and the non-citizens. For example, Article 15, 16, 19, 20 and 29 in the chapter of fundamental rights in the Constitution, in the Indian Constitution, Part 3 are available to Indian citizens only. They are essential for human development, democracy and social progress. Now fundamental rights. Fundamental rights are important for the individual to live with dignity and the society to evolve meaningfully. Constituent Assembly of India borrowed the concept of fundamental rights from American Constitution, where they are found in Bill of Rights. In fact, fundamental rights are given so much importance that if they are violated, the aggrieved individual can approach the Supreme Court of India directly under the provisions mentioned in the Article 32 of the Constitution of India. Supreme Court of India can issue writs mentioned under Article 32 of the Constitution of India for the defense of the fundamental rights of the citizens. High courts of a particular state can also issue the writs in defense of the fundamental rights, and that power of the high courts is covered under Article 226 of the Constitution of India, but can do so for other rights as well outside Part 3 of the Constitution of India. This means that in some books you will read that the writ jurisdiction of the High Court is greater than that of the Supreme Court. The reason for this is that whatever cases, maximum of the cases that reach the Supreme Court, they are first heard in lower courts. For example, first the course goes in a sessions court, then it goes in a district court. After that, by appeal it goes to the High Court, and after by appeal it goes to the Supreme Court. So a case normally after going through various lower courts reaches the Supreme Court. But when the case of fundamental rights arises, that is any case which entails that some provisions of the fundamental right have been violated by some citizens, then in those cases the aggrieved person can directly approach the Supreme Court without going through the hierarchy of the lower courts. So that is why we say that the writ jurisdiction of a Supreme Court is less than the writ jurisdiction of a High Court, because Supreme Court can issue writs directly in the matters of fundamental rights, whereas other courts such as High Courts can issue writs on fundamental rights also and other cases also, obviously inside the area of its jurisdiction. Fundamental rights include individual and group rights. which are common to most liberal democracies, such as equality before law, freedom of speech and expression, freedom of association and peaceful assembly, freedom to practice religion, and the right to constitutional remedies in case of violation of the rights by means of writs such as habeas corpus. Right to life is an example of individual rights, while affirmative action in favor of certain castes, women and minorities is an example of group rights. Now, freedom struggle and fundamental rights. In 1928, a series of all-party conferences headed by Motilal Nehru drafted a constitutional scheme called the Nehru Report. This constitution called for a parliamentary democratic system of government and protection of minorities. In 1931, the Indian National Congress at its Karachi session further committed itself to individual rights and liberties, which included social and economic rights in favor of the lower castes and for a living wage for workers. Fundamental rights were incorporated into the Indian Constitution with the inspiration or the leadership of the freedom struggle and the experience of the world's leading democracies, that is the democracies of United Kingdom, United States of America, France, that had detailed provisions for the recognition and protection of individual rights in their constitution. For example, the Bill of Rights of UK, Bill of Rights of USA, and the Declaration of the Rights of Man of France. Now, fundamental rights essentially safeguard individuals from any arbitrary state action, but some rights are enforceable against private persons as well. For example, abolition of untouchability, Article 17, is a limitation on state action as also on individual actions. Article 15, Article 16, Article 19, Article 29 and Article 30 are available to citizens only, while others are enjoyed by non-citizens as well. Now, fundamental rights can be amended by the Parliament only and no other government organ, either it is a federal or state government. The Supreme Court upheld the power of the Parliament to amend the fundamental rights from the commencement of the Constitution till the Golak Nath case verdict in 1967. But in the Golak Nath case ruling, it held that Parliament could not amend the fundamental rights, as these rights enjoy a transcendental status under the Indian Constitution. Now, the word transcendental here means relating to a spiritual realm. But in the Keshwanand Bharti case of 1973 verdict, the Supreme Court permitted limited power to the Parliament to amend the fundamental rights. In the Keshwanand Bharti case versus the state of Kerala case, the Supreme Court laid down the concept of basic features of the Constitution of India. The Apex Court ruled that basic features cannot be amended by the Parliament of India. Now, what is meant is that the basic features cannot be restricted or violated, but there is scope of enrichment and amplification. However, the legality of such amendment is open to judicial questioning by the Supreme Court. That means that the right to judicial review is preserved. The Supreme Court at that time did not clearly told that what is the basic feature of the Constitution, but from its ruling this can be inferred that any matter, whether it is a basic feature of the Constitution or not, is to be decided by the Supreme Court, and hence in every matter of the constitutional amendment, right to judicial review, the option of right to judicial review is always open. Fundamental rights are not classified as a basic feature, but if they are violated and there is no clear public purpose served by the violation, the violative law can be partially or wholly struck down by the courts. The doctrine of basic structure that was introduced in the Keshwanand Bharti versus State of Kerala 1973 case was further reinforced in the Menka Gandhi versus Union of India case 1978 and Vaman Rao case in 1981 to the effect that it carries greater force than parliamentary legislation. This means that if Parliament amends the fundamental rights, then it is invalid if it goes against the basic structure of the Constitution as interpreted by the Supreme Court of India. It shows the enormous importance attached to the fundamental rights in the Indian Constitution as interpreted by the Apex Court, that is the Supreme Court. Now, another feature of the Indian Constitution is that it preserves fundamental rights against abuse by the government. Neither the federal, only a Constitutional Amendment Act, if at all, can amend the fundamental rights. That is, neither the central nor the state governments can amend the fundamental rights to restrict them. Under national emergency, Article 352, Article 358 and Article 359, however, Constitution permits suspension of the operation of all fundamental rights except Article 20 and Article 21. What is Article 20? Article 20 is protection in respect of conviction for offences. And what is Article 21? Article 21 is the protection of life and personal liberty. So friends, this was the introduction to the fundamental rights. In my next lecture, I will proceed further. Now fundamental rights. In this audio lecture, we will study fundamental rights. Now, a right is a legal claim that a citizen or any other individual is granted by the Constitution